Hi, I'm Justin Davidson from the Talend product team, and I'm here today to talk about some exciting stuff that we've got going on in the Australia and New Zealand region, and how this stuff might be a great catalyst for customers and future customers to engage their data teams in new and powerful ways with Talend. To start us off, let's talk about cloud computing in general. Research says needs are increasing as data volumes increase. Yep. This is something that we see, and I'll talk a lot about this later on, but fundamentally, cloud is the predominant deployment mechanism worldwide. Companies expect managed solutions, but on terms that meet their security and compliance requirements. And Talend, as a company, we support enterprises. This means every kind of company from state and local governments to financial and educational institutions to healthcare organizations, you name it. And most of our customers are dealing with data that they consider to be sensitive, whether this is PII, health data, financial data, intellectual property, all of the above. Cloud security is, of course, a top priority for our customers. And many of our customers are multi-cloud. They've got a lot going on with the cloud, and almost every customer has a SaaS footprint of some kind. And for Talend as well, we have an incredible amount at stake, of course, on our security posture, as you can imagine. And as we think about all the organizational challenges around the cloud, it's important to say that the vast majority of cloud breaches are around human error. This is things like password sharing, unsafe network configurations, bad actors. And these things carry virtually the same risk with on-premise self-managed solutions as they do with fully managed cloud solutions. Nevertheless, many reasons to be cautious. Around data protection laws, most people think about GDPR when the subject of data protection comes up, but this is far from being the only legislation out there. According to the Talus Group, there are more than 120 countries already engaged in some form of international privacy laws for data protection, and many of these countries really do heavily regulate the transfer of PII outside the customer's country. And in Australia, you're well aware of this. So we at Talend are going to great lengths to help our customers stay compliant, whether it's GDPR, the Australian Privacy Act, or any others that we encounter, because we want to make sure that all of our customers have confidence that our platform is going to meet their security requirements. And of course, this is why we're here today. We've launched a new AWS data center in Australia. And for a little background, we stood up our APAC region in 2018 to support the worldwide growth of our cloud platform. The cloud platform in this region has been super successful. We've got a ton of cloud customers in the theater, even a lot of customers in Australia and New Zealand. But since day one, there's been an ongoing cry out for a localized instance. Australia, particularly in certain verticals, as you guys know, has pretty strict data sovereignty standards, like not one byte leaves the country. So what does the Australia data center mean for you guys? Maintaining data sovereignty and keeping all of your data and compliance on local soil, hugely important. There can be performance improvements, particularly for those customers using AWS. Proximity means that there are fewer or no hops as data moves around. We are aligning with your best practices, so there's fewer security hoops to jump through. And lastly, having this local data center ensures that you're able to leverage all of the Talend functionality and all the applications that we're bringing that might appeal to different users across your organization. I'll talk a lot about that in a bit too. As I mentioned, the majority of our customers are on Talend in the cloud already, and many of these customers truly are enormous, both in the size of the company and in the scope of their Talend use cases. So I was on the Talend Cloud team for a few years, and RingCentral was actually an on-premise customer I got to work with on their transition to Talend Cloud and their implementation of new workflows. While the majority of Talend customers have analytics use cases, RingCentral is interesting because they also have a mission-critical operational use case. So one of the main things they use Talend for is to aggregate over 100 sources of employee data and deliver that data back out to their organizational applications through APIs. As you can imagine, all those sources have different formats, different levels of quality, duplicates. There's a lot going on there, and this is really the epitome of taking raw data from a whole bunch of different places and making it trustworthy and valuable. This is exactly what they're doing at RingCentral. So they're using Talend Studio, they're using Pipeline Designer, Data Prep, Data Stewardship, Data Quality, and through Data Inventory, they have that single pane of glass to see their data and democratize tasks to the right data experts throughout the organization. So transitioning to Talend in the cloud has really helped them get the full value out of the platform and engage new team members that they simply couldn't before. So what does it mean to move from on-prem to cloud? What are all the bits and pieces? I'm going to step up a level here and talk about the journey of the core Talend components and what led us to this conversation today. So Talend was originally installed and managed by the customer in your environment, either on-prem or in a public cloud like AWS, Azure, Google. And we introduced fully managed cloud about 6 years ago. So the cloud platform isn't just the on-premise platform deployed in the cloud. It truly is a iPaaS platform that takes away all the complexity in management, including all of the provisioning, scaling, monitoring, system maintenance, and puts that all on Talend. So this is the deployment choice for about 80% of our new business worldwide. We have very few customers coming in and asking for managed software anymore. And that's true, not just for Talend, but for almost any software vendor out there. So as our customer base has shifted, how did our literally millions of customers come up to speed? Well, Studio, the development environment, is the same across any deployment model. So you don't sacrifice any features or functionality or connectivity with our iPaaS. Your developers are dealing with the exact same environment that they already know. And this is, again, the same as traditional Talend. So every Talend user, every expert out there is able to hit the ground running with all of the features available to them. A Talend expert is a Talend expert no matter the deployment model. So what does our cloud architecture actually look like? So what you're looking at here is sort of a 50,000-foot view of the Talend iPaaS architecture. It's a hybrid system, and we are simultaneously multi-cloud and fully cloud agnostic. Our goal here is to take everything that does not touch your data and wrap all of that stuff in a managed service for you. So again, looking at this view, the complexity of the system is over here on the left, and this is what we refer to as the control plane. So this is the administration of the system. This is the update management. This is the version control. So versions of your jobs, versions of your Talend instances. This is your CI/CD processes, your different environments. This is orchestration. System visibility, system health. All of that is controlled by Talend over here in the control plane. And then on the right, we've got the data plane. So the data plane is really, where all of the horsepower lives. So starting over here on the far right, we've got your sources, your targets. This is really any database or any system. It could be an API. It could be a cloud system that you are using as a data source or target. And then we've got the hybrid components here, and the hybrid components beginning with Studio, which is, of course, the Talend development environment that's installed on your laptops. And then you've got the remote engine. So the remote engine is really important to the hybrid story here. The remote engine is a set and forget agent that you install on a piece of steel inside your network, or generally it's installed on a virtual machine. You size that piece of virtual hardware, whatever is appropriate to you. You can maybe have multiple remote engines. There are use cases that call for that. But basically the remote engine fires up, it phones home to Talend, it says, hey Talend, what do you have for me? What do you have for me? Talend says, here's a job, execute this at noon. the engine says, do I have the correct version of that job? Yes, you do. All right, the job's going to execute right here inside your network at noon. So this green line here represents your data in transit. You can see that because the job is executing over here, that's native Java code, the green line will never flow through Talend's network at all. It stays all right here at home. What this allows us to do is basically, make sure that 90% of the horsepower of the system is controlled by you, and 90% of the management overhead and the complexity stays over here on the left-hand side. So as you're developing with Talend Studio and you're using remote engines, no data is going to leave your network or is ever going to be stored or cached in our cloud at all. And of course, this means you don't have to worry about the maintenance, provisioning, the disaster recovery, the SLAs, and all the underlying technologies and skill sets that are all required to run the show over here. So another key benefit of this architecture is this remote engine architecture allows customers to scale operations as needed. So you can scale to almost any volume of data, job complexity, job concurrency, and we're not going to tax you or penalize you as you grow your Talend usage. So the last thing I'll say about this diagram is this. Our iPaaS is backward compatible with prior versions of the hybrid components. So what this means is that you are no longer worrying about wholesale upgrades of the system. We basically allow you to upgrade as you need to. There's really not a lot of planning involved here or anything. Your teams are just going to be able to grab the latest version of Studio by project anytime that works for you. So if one team needs the latest and greatest piece of functionality that's come out, they can go and get the new Studio. If another team says we're in the middle of a project, we can't be bothered by that, great, they can do that whenever it makes sense for them. And this is really designed to give you the constant access to the latest and greatest innovations and updates that we've got, and ensure that you're able to move with Talend at the speed of technology as it is today. Because innovation and being able to take advantage of sort of this quickly shifting technology landscape can really be make or break for a company. While we're on the subject of architecture and security, I'll quickly say that Talend has a long list of security certifications and process compliance. There's no surprises here. You're going to find that we do everything that you'd expect an enterprise data software vendor to do. And it's important to note, as called out over here on the right, that our certifications are earned via annual audits of our own compliance and our protocols and our architecture and our security controls. We don't pass through compliance from a hosting platform or anyone else. And while we are not a platform, a data platform like a storage platform or a system of record, it's important for our customers to know that any data that we do take on for any reason, even temporarily, will be treated with the highest sensitivity. And we have recently earned this ISO 27701 and 27001 certification. And this is effectively sort of the worldwide standards on privacy. So there are hardly any vendors out there of any kind that have both of those. So we're proud that we've got that. So I want to take a few minutes to talk about all of the applications and functionality that maybe are cloud native and you haven't had a chance to try, or maybe you haven't seen yet, you haven't been exposed to yet. And to do that, I think it's important to start out with the vision and the mission. So hopefully now you understand our architecture and how it protects your data and helps you stay compliant. And some of the reasons that the cloud platform and the iPaaS is so important to Talend and so important to our customers. But this doesn't solve the business problem. So let's talk for a moment about the way we're thinking. And really, it truly is this message about changing the way the world makes decisions. It's less about a new widget for integration and more about understanding the real challenges our customers are facing today. It's no secret that we're seeing this data explosion. And we all know that getting value out of the data that we already have, that is hard enough, not to mention, the compounded complexity of the volume of data that we're dealing with. So we've got more data in existing sources, we've got tons of new sources we can leverage, and we've got new ways to pull information out. And then we've got companies like Snowflake who are really changing the game as far as making it practical and cost-effective for companies to actually preserve and aggregate data that maybe they would have just thrown away 5 years ago. So the challenge is, how fast can we turn all of this data into something valuable? Every business is affected by this, from mom and pop to Fortune 50. We all know that in order to be data-driven, we have to be agile, and we believe that in order to be agile, companies need to be democratizing their data processes. And this means that everyone in the business is becoming a data worker, whether as a consumer or a producer or an active participant in the data's journey across the organization. It's about putting the right data in front of the right person at the right time. How can we improve this process of getting from the raw input to a confident decision? Well, the IT shop, they're responsible for this stuff oftentimes, and quite honestly, they often don't know if the data is right. They may not even care if the data is right. They've got enough on their plate. They got the data from point A to point B, and that's it. So let's get more people involved. Let's get these people involved through self-service. And while we're doing that, let's use some intelligence and automation to help those guys out and to immediately understand if we can trust that baseline data and if there might be a quick action that we can take to improve that trust. So trust score is something that's being baked into all of our processes. And if you haven't seen a demo of the trust score stuff, it's super cool and it can really add a lot of value. I encourage everyone to reach out and get a demo from your account rep or your technical team. And then moving past that, data health is about the process of making sure that the data is correct, that the data is contextual, and it stays that way over time. So data health we're sort of defining this as a comprehensive system to measure and maintain the well-being of the data as a whole. And this is laying your business context on top of that trust score baseline. And when you do that, you really start to get a picture of the health of the data that you depend on to drive your business forward. Critical to data health is creating a culture of ongoing data quality. This is a support system around data quality, and there can be a lot of different roles and personas involved in this. So creating that culture is really, you can think of it as what you would do for your personal health. You wouldn't go on a diet, lose a few pounds, and then say, okay, I'm done. No, you're going to actually create a lifestyle change and make sure that you can keep that weight off. This is a data lifestyle change. And this brings us to our flagship product, Data Fabric. Data Fabric is really the center of data health, bringing all of these activities and all these different personas under a single umbrella. And this is what Talend is recognized for, providing a platform that unifies different business use cases from ingest to data delivery to deep data governance. And now with Trust Score, we're really doubling down on these capabilities to solve problems for a lot of different constituents across the organization. And our goal here is to unify the data journey so that everyone in the business stays in lockstep, and that as one group implements a solution for themselves, that they're not inadvertently creating chaos or causing problems for the group next door. Because across any organization, there could be 100 different use cases with 100 different value propositions for a whole bunch of different constituents. So these are the applications here that make up the fabric, and they're provided in a unified platform to maximize productivity and minimize chaos. So everything I'm lighting up is cloud native or available in a managed hybrid format. So you can see these are the applications that make up that persona-based journey of data health. And by the way, these sort of iPaaS capabilities really add a lot of value on top of what you may be familiar with traditional Talend. Some of this stuff is cloud-based data integration with Pipeline Designer, really unique persona-based API delivery capabilities with API Services Platform, data prep and data stewardship. These applications allow those non-technical users to engage because oftentimes those non-technical people are your true data experts. Data quality designer, and this gives you that kind of write once and use anywhere data quality rules and data quality practice across all the different applications. And then data inventory is the center of trust score, and it's that single pane of glass that allows you to understand your data landscape at large. And I'm sure you're now thinking, okay, so how do I get started? Well, just reach out to your Talend account team or visit the website. There's really a lot more to talk about that we didn't get to today. So we'd love to give you the full story and help you get going with all this great stuff that may have been off limits to you in the past. Again, I'm Justin Davidson. Thank you so much and have a great day.